welcome to Moments with Mimi. And today we're going to look at history through the subjective lens. Everything's a perception field, and most people look at history objectively, and it's really needs to be looked at subjectively. Everything needs to be looked at subjectively because this is a subjective world. So, I'll give you a good example of that. There's people who'll tell you that Santa Claus has killed Christmas, the real meaning of Christmas. But the people who think they know the real meaning of Christmas don't know the real meaning of Christmas. Okay? Santa Claus is the real meaning of Christmas. Okay? It's the same story. Santa Claus can do anything. Santa Claus knows if you're good or bad. He knows when you've been sleeping. He knows when you're awake. Right? Now, that's your imagination, right? Right. All things are possible. Knows when you're sleeping, knows when you're awake, knows when you've been good, knows when you've been bad, knows it all. He knows exactly what you want. Santa Claus knows. And you can whisper to Santa Claus, I want this. Santa Claus will go. And then he brings it to you in some wonderful way. He comes down the chimney. You have no chimney. Well, he got in your house anyways and delivered. Okay, and he does it all in one night, all across the world. Well, how can Santa Claus do that? Well, because Santa Claus is God and man. He's imagination. And you are compelled to go get your child, whatever it is they're imagining, whether they tell you about it or not. Okay? You'll know. You'll know. And you'll get it. And there may be times when your child's telling you, like my son did to us, I didn't want a dog, he wanted a dog, and he'd go around, just a little black puppy this high with a tail that long. And he'd go around like that. Little black puppy this high, this long. He's 16 years old doing this. So you know what he got? A little black puppy this long, this high with a tail that long. And he loved that dog. And he put that dog under the covers with him. That dog loved being in the dark. That dog loved it. And it was hysterical. He got it. He got his dog. Despite the fact I didn't want to get a dog or anything else. Okay? We got him. And just compelled to do it. You just do it. You give in. Oh, well, okay, today's the day. And that just happens to be the day when a litter of little puppies shows up at, the adoption agency. And they're all black, and they're all this big and this high with tails that long. Go pick out the one you want. It's perfect. So when you start looking back on your life, you start seeing these things. But then you can go back and look in history and see these things, especially the history things that resonate with you. For myself, I've loved world history. It didn't matter whose history it was. I love reading about it. I always have. And same with the myths and legends and all that other stuff. I just loved it. And the motivation for me when I was young was they said I had a reading problem. Back then, they didn't know what it was. Today, they call it dyslexia. And my parents just refused to accept that. No, I don't think so. Sweetie, we're going to teach you how to read phonetically. They got these records on how to, read phonetically, and I would listen to them. And my mom and dad would sit down, we read every day. And it just got to be where, one day I snapped. And after that day, I couldn't put a book down. There was, if I wasn't watching a movie or a show or running around outside, I was reading a book. Book, read the book. And all the stories, I mean, it was magnificent. And to me, and some of the stories we really resonate with. The Perons, that resonates with a lot of people. Abe Lincoln resonates with a lot of people, and the list goes on. It just depends on who resonates with you. So one of the ones that's always resonated with me is Genghis Khan. And I truly believe that Genghis Khan was reinserted into the Matrix. And I had already walked the road. He was a big believer in the law of hospitality. And he was close to China, which was promoting these laws at that time. And he suffered. And his road of suffering, he came out of it with the lesson of all men are equal. And if you think you're above them, then your head gets chopped off. Bye. You're just a thought, and I'm not thinking like that. Got it? Good. All men are important. The butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, they all bring us wonderful things. And, oh, you, Mr. Rich Man, think that because of the family you were born into, you get to rule? Okay? And he did this because he suffered in such a manner. You're not good enough. Get out of here. And, oh, really? I'll show you I'm good enough. And here comes Genghis Khan kicking some ass. And he unites the Mongolian steppe people, and part of the people that had thought that they were better than the Mongols were the Chinese, and they had this back and forth love-hate relationship, and he kicked their ass. That's what he had intended and set it out to do, was to unite everything in his world, which was China and Mongolia. Well, when he took China, he became aware that there's these trading partners over in Arabia, Constantinople, Alexandria. So he sent some envoys over there, and by the time he had consolidated everything under his rule and sent these envoys, these trading envoys, stories from the towns and cities that he had, sacked and those he hadn't, and the reasons why they didn't get sacked and, all that other stuff had already reached Alexandria. So some cities were not sacked. If you said, okay, yeah, come on in. We'll trade with, we'll be a part of your kingdom. We'll pay you taxes. We can live any way we want. Yep. We can believe whatever we want. Yep. You can just keep on being happy. Do whatever you want. All you got to do is pay me this much every year. Okay, good. What else do we get? You get our protection. We're going to protect you. Okay? We are here for you. And you are here for us. We're a team. Okay? You are my people, and nothing's going to hurt you. And you just give us a little loving. And you go be whatever you want to be. And you do whatever you want to do. You give me a little loving, and I'll make sure the rest of the world don't mess with you while you go be whatever you want to be. So, okay, great. So, but then there were the others going, yeah, right. You can't do this to me. I'm better than you. And off with their head. Burn them down. Burn them down. They all think like that. They're all back there and behind him. Go ahead. Burn them. Kill them. So then he gets to Alexandria and walls and, things he didn't really have to encounter before. But he had all these creative, imaginative people who quickly caught on to what needed to be done. So he sends these envoys, and the head of Constantinople chops their heads off and sends it back to him. And he's like, what? Oh, You want the wrath of Khan. You want the wrath of God coming down on you. You got it, buddy. You got it. You asked for it. Dun, dun, dun. Here come the Mongols.
Make known to all men present and afar off. Those who oppose me shall be destroyed. Those who submit shall be spared. And those who freely unite with me shall profit richly.
And so then, you know, they arrive, and in this particular instance, the prince of Constantinople said, you know, God's going to come down on you, and you're going to go to hell. Genghis Khan says, really? Well, maybe you need to go ask your God why he sent me to bring you hell. It was all based on the law of hospitality. Nobody had made any threats. Nobody had done anything. We came to talk trade. You chop my guys' heads off. Hi, I'm coming to do what you did to them. Do you like it? It's not okay for you to do it to them and me not do it to you. It must be okay. You did it to them. You know? Don't you judge me. Bam, 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 bam. Don't you ever judge me. I know who I am. And now you and your ugly thoughts are gone. Wiped off the face of the earth. And that's what happened. More towns thrived under Genghis Khan than were destroyed. And then there's historians who would tell you, you know, he began the plague, or he spread the plague. No, he didn't. Their filthy thoughts are what made the plague. Their thoughts about, you know, scared of being overrun by the Mongols, you know, and this is what grew out of that. And that's those thinking ill of another. You're judging them. Now you're getting sick. Who got sick? You did. Venice. You did. All these cities that were afraid of the Mongol horde coming to kill them. You know, and the Mongol horde came anyways. You know, and they didn't necessarily get to Venice and kill them, but their filthy thoughts killed them anyways. They were looking to die, so they died. And this is the story, you know. And he dies peacefully, having fathered a third of the population of the earth. You know? He was rocking, man. He was rocking. And he lived in luxury, and he had prosperity, had abundance, had love, had happiness, had peace. And if you tried to mess with him in his world, he came and kicked your ass. Pretty simple. And we're learning to be Genghis Khan, you know. So he had the ultimate faith. He had no fear. He had no doubt, and certainly no guilt. He believed in himself. He loved himself. He loved his world. And if you thought you were better than another, your head got chopped off, you know. And this was the beauty of Genghis Khan. And some will say, man, you're a crazy lady. He's awful. No, he's magnificent. And out of him, you know, came so much. A plethora of stories and beliefs and ways of living life and the ways of thinking.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
It's a continuing story. It's the same story about how Muslims took over the world, the Ottoman Empire. And they didn't take over the whole world. They took over the known world. And even then, not all of it, but a big, huge chunk of it. And, you know, everyone will tell you these things happen through trade, becoming aware of other things, learning through other things. Trade is a win-win for all. It's love. And it's through spreading the love. Trade, right? Look, we make these. Look, we do this. Oh, we want some of that. I know people would love that. We're trading. We're trading love. And when you cut off trade, you're cutting off the love. So this is how wars start, and in between nations and things like that. So it follows that when you're looking at some of these historical figures, you can see which ones were awake and which ones were not. And Saladin and Suleiman, you can tell, were both awakened individuals. They treated the ones who lost to them very well. Saladin was just, well known for that. He was very generous with his terms and conditions, and because he knew that's me in another costume. I'm not going to be a pisser, and it's things like that. And so when you go back and you look at some of the historical stories that resonate with you, that you really, really like, dig in a little bit and see what it is you like about that story. And you'll discover that it's part of this story, which is, we're all one. There's only one. You stand up for yourself. You don't put up with others. Nobody's better than or less than you, and nobody's better than or less than another. And if they think they are, off with their heads. Queen of Hearts, right? Off with their heads. And move forward. We're the only people who are going to be left behind are the ones who believe like I do. Okay? The ones who don't believe like me, off with their heads. This is the story of Genghis Khan, and it is the story you need to implement in your life. If that thought, if that belief is not serving you, off with its head. Everyone is you in a costume. You are not better than or less than another. And to think otherwise, off with that head. No. No one thinks like that. Whatever belief it is, you sucker it, you cut off its head. One of the things that's always stuck with me from, I was fascinated with mafia, was that when Kennedy was killed, the head of the Texas Louisiana Mafia had stated to Jimmy Hoffa, who was complaining about Robert Kennedy coming after him, and he wanted them to get rid of Kennedy, Robert Kennedy. And the head of the Texas Louisiana Mafia stated, you don't kill a dog by chopping off its tail. You cut off its head.
Off with their heads! Off with his head!
So, just think about it. And if there's some story in history that you're fascinated with, leave it down in the comments below, and we'll take a look at it subjectively. So thank you. Thank you for being you. And I hope this helps you see things subjectively. Blessings to you. And thank you. Thank you for being you.